We now invite you to join us for part 1 of this enlightening lecture titled, Find a Living Master to Reunite with the Great Source of All Things, given by Supreme Master Ching Hai, Vegan, in San Jose, California, USA, on May 27, 1989.
Peace for Ukraine, Ukraine.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Tonight, Master Ching Hai is here to state the method of instant enlightenment. First, let me give a quick introduction about Master Ching Hai. Master Ching Hai was born in a wealthy Vietnamese family. Her parents are Catholic. Her grandma, however, is a faithful Buddhist. Since Master Ching Hai was brought up in this multi-religious family, she mastered the Western religion as well as the Eastern while she was still a little girl. If you would like to find out more about Master Ching Hai and her philosophy, there are 2 booklets available at the entrance. These 2 booklets are a collection of discourses delivered by Master Ching Hai. Since the time is limited tonight, I will say no more. By the way, there will be a question and answer section close to the end of the lecture. Please have your question written down on a piece of paper. Now, let's welcome the Master Ching Hai.
Thank you. Everybody is on vacation. We forgot all about this. I'm glad that a few of you came. Otherwise, we would be drinking tea and then go home in a few minutes. We forgot about the weekend, the long weekend. Everyone has gone out of town, no? See, I was in Taiwan and not so well informed. The disciples arranged everything. So I hope that we will also have some nice, I'll say, weekend time together. We are having some nice time together here, instead of going to the countryside, camping, barbecuing. Good evening. My name is so-and-so. The purpose of this evening talk is already well written. So I think those who are interested in this topic will not mind to miss a long weekend vacation. In San Francisco, we have more people than here. Today is just really a shock to me. Being used to the crowd in Taiwan, this is the first time there's so little people. In Taiwan, we have no seat, even on the floor. So I hope we will manage together. The Vietnamese well said with the, yeah? Can you hear? It's good? In America, we have so many spiritual centers, as far as I know. So many famous masters and teachers come from all over the world to this country to present to you, to your great country, many great methods, many great cultures, in order to share together the spiritual treasure. I'm just one of the so-called many people. But I hope the things that I present to you will help you a lot, more than what you have heard before. Now, when the Buddha was alive, he taught the method of immediate enlightenment to his disciples, because not all disciples are transmitted with this kind of so-called sudden enlightenment method. Now, when Jesus was alive, he also transmitted this kind of immediate enlightenment to his close disciples. But whenever we read the Buddhist sutras or Buddhist scriptures and the Catholic scriptures, we find no method in it. We just find some praise to God, praise to Buddha, to the three treasures of the Buddhist system, and no method of cultivation, and no method of how to reach enlightenment. So today I will present to you this method. It is not written in the sutra, in the Buddhist scriptures. Sutra is a Sanskrit term for any holy scriptures. In the Buddhist Bible, the most important ones are the Lotus Sutra and the Surangama Sutra. These are both the best and the most reliable sutras in which it was mentioned the best and the highest road to freedom, to liberation. When we were talking about the Buddhist scriptures, you may think I want to convert you to Buddhism. No. Later I will also talk about the Christian Bible, and we combine them together, and we may make some good discussion. In the Buddhist Bible, in the Surangama Sutra, it is mentioned that the quickest, the best, and the highest method to liberation or to reach Buddhahood is the method of Guan Yin. Guan Yin means contemplating on the inner heavenly sound stream or the vibration. And in the Lotus Sutra, it is also mentioned that a great cultivator or the master of the method would experience some kind of inner heavenly music. The music of the flute, of the conch, of the seashell, of the, I sometimes forgot. And never mind. All the kinds of musical instruments, many kinds. Those with strings and those without string, the drums and trumpet, etc. Also the sound of thunder, the sound of heaven, the sound of hell, the sound of human beings, and all kinds of other beings. Now in the Christian Bible, it is also stated that when God appears, his voice is like the sound of many waters. In the Buddhist Sutra, it says the same thing. We can hear the sounds of the sea, the ocean. That is the sound of many waters. Also the sound of the running waterfall. That is the sound of many waters. And also the sound of thunder. And God appeared in a great flame, and his voice was like the sound of thunder. Do you remember? Yeah? You remember the Bible say so? Yeah, okay. Now, if you are not familiar with the Bible, then I will state other scriptures. Yes. Now, I forgot. Every day speaking Chinese is doing great harm to my English. In the Quran, the Muslim Bible, it is says so. When Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, meditated in the cave, after a while, he heard the sound of ringing bells. And then the bells ultimately assumed the shape of the angel Gabriel and told him something. And it is the inner sound, which is mentioned in many scriptures. Also in the Sikh Bible, all the gurus of the Sikh, the 10 Sikh gurus, all mention about the various sounds, the inner sounds. There are different sounds in the 5 levels. So, when Guru Nanak, he say, when one listens to the inner sound of God, one will know everything. And he says something more, but at the moment I can't really remember. But in every hymn in the Sikh scriptures, they also praise this kind of inner vibration. Do I remember well? Is that right? Yeah? Yeah. I'm glad that I have said it somehow understandably to you. And because the Adigram is so great like this, the 6 scriptures are so great, so big like this. So one would have to devote one's whole life to remember everything. But I just remember some of it because I'm born in a Buddhist family and a Christian faith. Therefore, even if I devote some time to the 6 scriptures, I'm afraid that I have some failure of remembering the whole thing. Now, what is it in the 6 scriptures? It's nothing new. It is a collection of various sayings and statements from past masters of different religions, different sects, different periods of time. So actually, if we read the 6 scriptures and we find some Buddhist sayings, there are some Persian proverbs, some Christian thought in it, and all the Hindu past masters sayings inside. Now, in the modern time, we have some kind of other religious movements, such as in Taiwan or in Vietnam, in which they believe in all religions and do not discriminate. And they would study the doctrines of all religions. In Chinese, we call it 无教贵医啦. So actually, this kind of combination, some people do not like. Some Orthodox Christians or Buddhists, for example, they would say these are heretics, are not true. Only Buddhism is good. Only Christianity is good. The others are atheists. But if we take a really deep look into all kinds of religious scriptures and take patience and time to develop our inner understanding through some kind of contemplation and purification, then we will find all scriptures mention the same thing. At the outset, all the scriptures encourage people to lead a pure life. Thou shalt not kill, thou shalt love thy neighbor, thou shalt love the enemy, etc. And thou shalt not steal, shalt not commit adultery. At the outset, the Christian commandments, the Muslim commandments, the Sikh commandments, the Hindu commandments, the Buddhist commandments are all the same. We shall be good people, be loving toward each other, and try to purify the inner self. Now, the outer virtues we all know, and most of us can do. Most of us can keep up the commandment from the Holy Scriptures. But how about the inner purification and the inner realization, which is mentioned and emphasized in all kinds of religions? How can we see God face to face? How can we hear God with our own being, without somebody else telling us a second-hand story? How can we experience our own Buddha nature? How can we become Buddha? And that is a more important question than just ethical conduct. Ethical life, of course, it is a great help and a must for anyone who strives to become a Buddha or who strives to become one with God. These terms mean the same thing. To become one with God, to go back to the Tao, to become a Buddha, they mean the same thing. They mean we unite with that great source of all things. To see our Buddha nature means to become one with God or to see God. 无上师是你，因了解；无上师是你，因了解。我们是无上师。Oh yeah.
Warmongers belong to hell, not to our civilized world.
My power has increased since becoming vegan, especially my endurance, and I almost never get ill anymore. Alexander Dargatz, vegan.
Saintly viewers, thank you for your presence today for Words of Wisdom.